Welcome to another episode of Tough Talk Tuesday. As always, I'm your beautiful host, Lucas Biggers. Alongside me is Robert Alexander and Sakura A. How's it going, guys?
Hey, I'm trying to recover. I done got sick again.
Yeah, we hope you got feeling better. We miss you. Um, Boxing lately has been beating us up and beating us up, and just when I'm about to quit, we get Terence Crawford finally signed to a decent fight, guys. Terence Crawford taking on Sean Porter. I've already had an argument on this fight. Somebody who I will not name believes that Crawford's going to win this by KO and do so pretty convincingly. I am not so sure. Guys, what do you think about this fight getting signed? One, I know everybody's excited because we've all been saying Crawford just needs this big step up, and we finally are getting it. I mean, it's finally something to really be excited for in boxing. So let me know how you guys feel about this fight.
So I'm going to pull one out of game day. Excited? Not so fast, my friend. We still got a lot to go till November. Let's hope and pray nobody gets COVID, nobody gets injured, or test positive, because that's what is happening with the sport right now.
Man, hopefully, maybe they put it in the works that they have to be vaccinated. I don't know. It sounds like some fights are being requested that now, so that may be, let me see in the future.
He just jinxed the daggone. I mean, he jinxed the fight.
I'm being a realist.
Rob came on the show today upset. Like he's down on life. Okay, he's not gonna look at this positively. Rob, we're finally getting a good fight for Terence Crawford, man. Come on.
Get me disappointed again. The only thing I have to say really is, thank God, man. It's some real boxing. It's a real, actual, bona fide match. It's some prime time, prize fighting, tough, competitive matchup being made, and it's our second one with, if you include the Caleb Plant versus Canelo fight. I mean, I after this weekend shenanigans, I was just like, in the toilet. Lucas was talking about quitting boxing, all this stuff going on. I was just like, give me some positive news, guys. And especially when you're sick, you need like a little, pep. So when that came out, November 20th, as the date, I was like, yes, sir. Finally.
Now, there's a few good positives about this. Number one, the date, because everybody pretty much going to be hopping in, going into Thanksgiving break, or, the Thanksgiving festivities. So people's going to have family around. It's going to be a huge event. That's going to be nice to see. Two, I mean, it caps off a good little trilogy of fights we got coming up. And it starts with Wilder Fury 3. And leading on up to Caleb Plant and Canelo, and then we now got Porter versus Crawford. So this is very good for boxing, very good for the sport. I'm looking forward to it. But guys, that being said, if Crawford wins, now I'm not saying who's going to win or lose, but if Crawford wins this fight, and he doesn't even have to do it convincingly, if he wins this fight, Spence has nowhere else to go but Crawford.
Yeah. I mean, that's about right, unless, Spence is still recovering. And then at that point, we'll have to go down the number, the top 5 list of whom else is available. But, I mean, Bud against any of these top 5ers is a great fight for me. I'm not going to try to look forward to a Spence Bud fight until we get, further information on his eye recovery and healing. And until then, I'm putting him on the sideline like I had to do Keith through his injuries. It's like, you a chess piece. I got to put you on the side till somebody tell me you're reactivated, right? So I'm not going to try to even put myself in that situation to look forward to that fight. All we know right now is that, somehow, some way, we had players from all these different cartels, as James like to call it, that actually were able to put together this fight.
Yeah, I mean, the fight got made. That's the important thing. But I'm not gonna try to look past it, Rob. Again, like she's saying, I don't know about Spence. The injury he got is suspect to, known to be putting fighters out for a good long time, if not retire some. So we can't say for sure he's gonna be that person. But I definitely like the prospect of where things are going. Personally, I still would have loved to seen Porter Spence again. I mean, that's a rematch that was waiting to happen, and I honestly don't know why a lot of fans aren't clamoring for that fight. Right? Because if he didn't get dropped in the 12th, that's a draw.
No, that's true, but what you just said, the injury puts that in jeopardy, and they fought before, so you might as well go ahead and see what Crawford can do this time around. Because let's face it, we've all been saying it. We're tired of seeing Crawford not fight these caliber fights.
Yeah, and also for Sean Porter, who wants to see another, rematch or trilogy, which is what he would have to do if he returns back to just fighting in-house fighters at PBC. I mean, because he's already fought most of the top 5. So
I kind of feel bad for Sean Porter because it almost feels like he cannot go backwards. He cannot take a tune-up because you're losing these fights. Now you're going and you're competing at a high level and you're falling just that barely amount short. But by falling that barely amount short, that automatically thinks you got to get right back in there, because if you go and you take on like a Rod Sulka now, we're just going to be like, what are you doing? Like, nobody's going to watch that fight. Nobody's going to tune into that. They want to see you come back and win, but the problem is he's always competing at such a high level, but he can't get over that hump. This could be different with Crawford, guys.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people like myself that do believe that he got over the hump that particular fight with Spence. But then you have other people that feel like it was very close, and then some people liked the decision. It's one of those fights that, for years to come, people can go back and watch it and come up with different synopses on who the winner should have been. So it's a situation where his stock didn't go down in that instance. But if he has another fight of that caliber and it seems like he's coming short, people might look at it differently. So that's the only thing he has to watch out for.
So, Lucas, I'm kind of curious to know, but who was your arguing partner? And you don't have to name names, but if I know them, you can throw hints. And what was your argument? What was the argument?
Well, I mean, it wasn't really like that much of an argument. Me and my buddy Jay, Jay. So, hey, we're gonna have him on the show. I mean, I just keep forgetting about it and reaching out to him. The show is almost always, so full lately that I need to reach out to him, get him on here, because, some of these conversations could be spread to light. But he fully backs Crawford, and I'm thinking right now, going into this fight, I'm thinking more of a Porter. I think the style is going to favor Porter. He seems to believe that that fight with Gamboa is going to prove to be what Porter turns out as. So he thinks he's going to be able to handle, the pressure that way. My thing is Gamboa's pressure does not bring the kind of pressure that Porter will bring, which is nonstop, 24/7, 7-11 in your face every second of every round. Gamboa doesn't have that. Porter is a dog, man, and he will wear you out. He will get that victory one way or another, and he's proven it time and time again.
Or die trying.
Right.
And I ask you that question because, not to say I agree or disagree, because that's another show down the line.
Oh, for sure.
But I kind of see where Jay is coming from, but I see it from a different angle. Crawford needs to be motivated. And when he gets motivated in these fights, when he gets pissed off, when he gets hurt, when he gets touched, so to speak, the dog comes out. And everybody says Porter is something that Crawford hasn't seen. But that dog in Crawford is something that Porter hasn't seen. I'm just saying.
Maybe, but one thing's for sure is neither one of them have really. This would be a step up for both. Well, I take that back. It's from Porter's aspect with Spence. That depends. You think Spence is better than Crawford or not? Because a lot of people see them as pretty equals, right? So Porter's already been there. Has Crawford fought someone of Porter's level? No. In my opinion, not even close. And he's been dropped by a lot lesser opponent. He's been hurt by a lot lesser opponent. The only problem is those opponents don't know how to finish him off. Those opponents did not stay on him. Porter will not allow that man to breathe. He's going to suck all that oxygen up on the inside. Just.
So before you say something, Shakur, I happen to agree with you, Lucas, but Spence is softer than Crawford. I said it here first. Spence, to me, is softer than Crawford.
Okay. I need some evidence. What you got? Why you say that?
He doesn't finish the job. And I'm saying about one Mikey Garcia fight. And since then, he doesn't finish the job. When that dog is in Crawford, it's over. Game is over. With Spence, he always just tries to outbox his opponent. He doesn't try to kill him. He doesn't try to knock him out. He doesn't even take it to him like he should and finish the job.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I can't answer.
No, I'm right, Shakur.
No, I'm just saying, when you give the example of Michael Garcia, for instance, I mean, that's a Mexican American who's known to have a tremendous chin. So it is harder to get him out. I'm not going to discredit him like that, like you would. But on the other hand, I mean, when it comes to Bud, it does seem like he has a different type of animal in him, like, you know, that killing instinct that a lot of boxers don't have. It seems that Bud does have that. So, you know, if you drop him and you don't like knock him completely out, you gotta look forward to him getting up and being real pissed off. So, I mean, that's the difference right there. But I guess Bud, I mean, no, Sean Porter's chin will be tested again, and that would give us that litmus test to let us know whether is it a hand, you know, is Bud got the hand drop type of power that Spence had, or does he have a little more bang for the punch? So, you know, it'll just give us a little litmus test on their power, respectively.
I mean, judging by the two, I mean, I think definitely Porter's going to have the better chin overall. I hear what you guys are saying. You know, he needs to be motivated and dropped in order to get up to win, but Porter gets dropped and comes back too. I mean, how many times have we seen Porter pick himself off the canvas? He picked himself off the canvas in that 12th round we were just talking about. Picked up himself off the canvas against Bronner. He gets hurt, but dude has a chin, and he will not be stopped either. So this is one of them things, is which one's going to break first, because this is going to be a litmus test. I mean, this is going to be who has the best stamina, who can hang in there. And I don't think any of us really know. I think we want to know. I think we have ideas of what we think we know, but do we really ever know until they step in the ring?
Well, I mean, I have to give, you know, everybody has to give Sean Porter credit for being the one that has the most experience against prize fighters, top welterweights. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they have to give the edge to him on the experience level. And then Bud, the killer instinct, I still have to go with Bud on that killer instinct. The question for me is, does Bud have extraordinary power at welterweight? We haven't seen that yet. Clearly, you know, with the Horn fight, it's more like stoppages, wear you down type of, you know, systematically breaking you down type of power that he demonstrates a lot. I'm interested in seeing the power level. That's where it's at for me. And I know Porter is going to give it to him, and I know we're going to get to see how he handles real pressure. So those are the things that I'm looking forward to. So to me, it's like Sean Porter can't lose. he's already going into the fight with most people feeling like he's the underdog in a sense. So I mean, all he has to do is perform well for me, and I'm gonna still be a Porter fan all day. Sean Porter got them type of fans, because he's losing some of these fights, but apparently these fans still appreciate the dog in him and the fight in him. So Sean Porter can't lose it, in my opinion. To me, it's Bud Crawford that can lose. It's more of a risk for Bud to me if he loses.
Bud's definitely the one that has the undefeated record. He has the blemishes. So I agree with what you're saying there. I think the pressure is all on Crawford right now. Rob, you're more the Vegas guy. You're more of the betting odds. So I'm going to come to you. Who do you think's going to come into the Vegas favorites? Who will be the favorite?
By far, Crawford. And I don't mean by far like, I don't mean like a huge stretch. I'm just saying like all the polls, all the gambling sites, everywhere is gonna have Crawford favored. Everywhere is gonna have him favored, and that's just because of where he's at on the pound for pound list versus where Sean Porter is at.
See, I think when we talk about pound for pound, yeah, that's one thing, but I agree more with Sakura about, like, you got to go with what the current weight class is in, what you've done in this current weight class. You can't sit here and say, I've beat so-and-so. I'm sorry, but even at 140, yeah, you got champs, but, again, who was that? Porter's been in there with the big names, with the big hitters, okay? And, yeah, he's came up short at times, but he hangs in there. And,
listen,
he don't get blown out by nobody.
Listen, I understand that. And when it comes to this fight, when you put it on paper, when you look at the outcome, the different scenarios, the different outcomes, and everything at it, the main thing you say about Porter is he brings it. Okay, that's the main thing. Nobody can take that away from Porter. Nobody can. The downfall of Crawford is that you say with all the tools that he possesses and the talent that he hasn't faced up to date nobody like a guy like Porter. Okay? But even that being said, he has been tested. He has had numerous fights where he's supposed to be tested, and he passed the test every time. Whether it be going down in a fight, whether it be getting hurt in a fight and coming back, and that dog just carries him over. That being said, they're going to look at it, I feel like the odds, when it comes to the odds, they're going to look at it like I'm looking at it here. Yeah, Crawford is in the fight, and he could be for a period of time, but I think Crawford mentally is harder than these other guys in the division. I think he has a harder killer mentality in him. And he does what he needs to do to break these guys down and get them out the fight. And that's what Vegas is going to look at. And I think that's what they're going to favor. I'm calling 3-1.
Vegas has a lot of insiders. I don't know. I think this is going to be almost dead even when the I'm looking now just to check, but I didn't see any odds released yet. Sakura, would you back Rob on that? Do you think Crawford is going to be the Vegas favorite?
At first, yes. But what I've been noticing lately with these trends in Vegas is that it starts out like really wide, like the stats he gave. And then by fight day, it's like neck and neck. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna just be like, I think it's gonna start being close, especially once you start getting into seeing people training, and you start getting into, seeing people at the weigh-in, and people are looking for any little thing, any little display of weakness or crack in the armor of both the boxers at that point, and they'll use that in order to justify, putting in that bet for one or the other. So I think it's going to be awfully close with the odds by the time this fight night.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Let's give a little shout out to the WBO. Without them, this fight might not have got made.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
They face.
They put the pressure, and I didn't think it was gonna work. Actually, I thought they. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I thought, oh, they're gonna say that they're requiring them to do this, and then that date is gonna go by, and that is exactly what happened, right? That date did go by, but
they asked for more time though.
right.
They asked for more time. Yeah.
Yeah, but the day went by, so I was like, here we go. They can't make an agreement. But then I started noticing that instead of it saying, Al Heyman management I started noticing it was saying TDG as the promoter that was going into the negotiations for Sean with Top Rank. So I was like, that's interesting. So then I started having a little bit more hope. Oh, Jesus. And then by it started closing in this weekend. Leaks were already being made that these two had came up with a date. And I'm like, ooh, an actual date. What's next? Are they going to agree? And so I was glad when they finally posted that they both had, signed on the dotted line.
Yeah, I'm excited for this fight now. I wish it was the week before so we could be giving our breakdowns and predictions. It's just a matter of time. We just got to wait now. It's going to be an early Christmas present for all of us. All right.
So are we going to, give our predictions? Or are you saying we're going to wait and actually...
It's too early.
It's too early, yeah, I agree.
But you already, Rob is the one that's already talking about 3-1 odds. Bud.
That's the odds, though. That's the odds. I mean, he should be the favorite. You should. Well, a lot can happen. What did I say when I first said it? Somebody can get COVID. Somebody can test positive. Somebody can have an injury.
Steve Alexander chimes in, says, I think the Vegas odds will favor Crawford, but it will be a tremendous fight between the two great warriors. I think a great fight is guaranteed, and I do not say this a lot. I think everybody can vouch for that. Pay-per-view worthy. Pay-per-view worthy fight. This one you open your wallet for. But the rest of them lately, ugh, man. And just as I was losing hope in boxing, we get something to help redeem it.
Right now we do, but okay. I'll wait on.
But my beef with boxing now, though, is if it's even close to a decent match, it's pay-per-view.
Again, don't get me wrong. We're all mad at the sport this year, but there's 3 great fights coming up. There's 3 great fights coming up. The trilogy. You have the trilogy.
Talking about the rubber match.
First. Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, August 9th. That's huge. You have Caleb Plant against Canelo after. You have this fight now with Crawford versus Porter. And you can even throw in a little candy-coated fight in there in late October here with Herring versus Shakur Stevenson.
That's a big fight. Why you say candy like that? That's a big fight.
After his last showing and his resume, as far as Shakur goes, it's not that big yet. It's still ESPN notable fight.
Well, to me, it's Shakur Herring is one of the ones I'm most looking forward to. Besides Sean Porter and Bud Crawford. To me, that's not the one that's, it's right up there for me. And the reason why is because we're going to finally see Shakur in there with, someone that's supposed to have equal skills and, just have the championship level fighting that he has. So far, Shakur's opponents haven't been quite there for me. And so I'm looking forward to it to see where he's at. And I'm looking forward to it because he's saying that he has still a lot to prove. And if he can pull off a win against Shakur, he would have all my respect. I couldn't give him the respect on that Frampton situation because it just seemed like, there was something going on with their weights, and it just seemed like it was way out of Frampton's wheelhouse to be up at that particular weight, super lightweight. I mean, super featherweight. I just didn't. I just wasn't able to be fully on board with that particular win. So this here would be the one for me that would place Herring in a superior type boxing level for me. So that's one thing. But also, Shakur needs that type of work. He needs to see people in the ring that are considered prize fighters. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I mean there is some good fights, Rob, but let's not forget they do get messed up quite easily with judging and everything else going on in the sport. Let's hope there is no more delays also in the Wilder Fury era. At first I was kind of done with that fight, but I'm slowly building excitement back for that. I have seen things from Wilder that leads me to believe that this may be a better fight going in. We have not really seen Malik Scott in the training aspect, but I think he may actually be a good trainer because for once I've seen things out of Wilder that have never been there before, and I'm talking about footwork and ring generalship overall. He actually is setting his feet when he's throwing his punches. We've all seen Deontay Wilder, and he is powerful even when his feet are not planted or in the correct area. But with this man and his 2 feet underneath him, the feet underneath his shoulders, he's going to be even more powerful, guys. And I don't know. I think he might be able to get Fury out of there. He just has to not be predictable because if you could tell, Fury has his number. He knows how he fights. He was able to dodge pretty much everything that Wilder was throwing his way. Not just the second fight, but in the first fight as well. We got a comment here. Dennis Moss, Wilder needs a tune-up with Scott before Fury. He ain't gonna fight his trainer. I mean, I'm sure they'll do some sparring if that's what you mean.
Yeah, I think he means. I think he means like he needs a tune-up with. He needs a tune-up fight to see how he's responding.
Tune-up fight with Scott. Okay, I'm sorry for the misunderstanding. Gotcha. Yeah. I got what you mean. Yeah, that's my fault there, Dennis. And yeah, I would agree to that, but I think it's. He's wanting to, and they've already gone through that whole, you got to fight me next thing. So they've already enacted that clause, the rematch clause, so they kind of have to take it from there.
I mean, this fight here is got more turns and curves and drop-offs than a roller coaster ride. I mean, it's just too much, like. Now, Rob, you want to talk about all the things that could happen in this fight? We've already seen the COVID bug hit, and next, I mean, people are still very concerned that this fight could not happen. And I don't know whether Fury is still like trying to play these mind games with Wilder. I don't know if Wilder, but they said Wilder's camp is doing very well with their COVID protocol. So, it's just like. What is Fury gonna do next to get in this man's head? So I'm still like not quite, just not quite getting excited about their fight because I don't know if they're gonna be some more shenanigans pulled. But
it's coming up.
Yeah, so I can say this though. I mean, Fury, he needs to get back in training. I've been seeing people, like his father posting different things. Saying first, and I mean, I need to see some workouts going on and seeing what's going on with this training camp. And I've seen some training video from Wilder's camp just because he has a heavyweight. He has a WBC silver belt that is from this area. His name is Moore, and Brandon Moore, and he's had some. They brought him into camp. For sparring and stuff. So I've been able to see some content for Wilder's training camp. But Fury, where is his camp? What's going on? I haven't seen that much going on, guys. This is troublesome because in the last fight he had Sugar Ray, or what is this? His name is Sugar from Detroit, the Crunk Gym. Really muscling him up and reminding him of his fundamentals that he might have forgot over the years. Who's doing that right now?
I mean, they always say that about Tyson Fury. Everybody says that about Tyson Fury.
Really?
We all say that, but the man's, which I understand your concern. If he knows he's not ready, he's gonna back out. I mean, he's done that time and time again. He did that right going into the fight, the second fight with Klitschko. That fight never happened. He retired. That's where I think he's at in his career. But I think at some point you gotta say, hey, this is it. This is my final hoorah. I think the man knows enough in the sport. He knows enough about the ring. He knows enough about his opponent even that he can go in there and still compete. I think he can go in there and still compete. And he has a little bit of time now that if he's tuning up himself, he can be ready. But I just think it's do or die for Tyson Fury, man. Look, the chips are all on the table. This is all you're going to get in terms of money right here. It's a huge fight, huge telecast. The pay-per-view numbers are what's going to drive the revenue for this thing because those are going to be through the roof. You might as well go ahead and throw it all in now and fight. And let everything fall where it may. If your head's not in it, you got the new grandchild, what is it, the new grandbaby or whatever he just had. You know, so if his heart's not in it no more, at least go out on your shield this way.
I agree. I'm looking forward to this fight too. Like I said, I think Wilder seems more motivated, but only time will tell. So let's talk about this weekend's fights, guys.
One more thing.
Sure.
It might be like, I mean, Fury could be playing games and acting like he's not doing nothing, and could be really training every day and stuff, and like just coming up, making it seem like he's not. For me, Wilder's one key to Wilder's W would be a nutritionist or something, because he's seen that Fury can come in there 40 pounds heavier than he is. That's a big, tremendous advantage. He needs to learn how to, gain some weight as well, but do it in a way that he's still able to maintain his energy. Because last time when he tried to gain that weight at the last minute, I consider that like a big fail. You can't just decide because, Fury came in at a certain weight that you now can go ahead and gain weight at the last minute. Like, these things have to be introduced slowly in a training camp, the right way, in order for it to make an advantage for you. So I'm interested to see in their weigh-ins what their weights are. Not for the normal reasons of just making weight, obviously, because they're heavyweights, but because I want to know what that weight difference is.
For sure. Yeah. Let's see here. We got some comments all directed towards Sakura. Dennis says, looking good, Sakura. Alona says, hello, tuning in from Milwaukee. Great show. I see you, Sakura girl. Thank you, guys, tuning in. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about Valdez and Conceicao. Oh man, what a mess! What a mess. Rob, I know we talked a little bit about it off the air, but how did you see this fight? Because me and some other people on the telecast, which are not here tonight, definitely did not see this the same way. I had Conceicao ahead. How did you see it there, Rob?
Terrible. The whole situation is terrible. Okay, for one, the fight shouldn't even happen, guys. It shouldn't have even happened, and then it did. And you expect, with all the advantages that this man had going into the fight, distractions and everything, he should have wiped the floor with Conceicao. He didn't. He didn't wipe the floor with him at all. In fact, it was a way more competitive fight than what it should have been. It really was. What I do?
You called him Conceicao.
Well,
like Jose Canseco. It's Conceicao.
Conceicao. Well, Valdez was Jose Canseco that.
What you said to me was like the opposite of what I thought you were going to say, because you started out saying that Valdez had all these distractions. I'm thinking that's a benefit for Conceicao.
No. Valdez had the advantage of the distractions because he shouldn't even been in the fight. His opponent had all equal rights to not even let him in the building that night. But instead, he went ahead and allowed him to fight, and his opponent fought very well, and made it a closer fight than it should have been. Valdez, to me,
say that it should have been. I mean, this is someone that gave him, an L in the amateurs. So
I just love how Shakira be talking, because Valdez is supposed to be better, okay?
People's numbers. I just talked about
Valdez is supposed to be better right now, okay? He's the one with the heavy money on him. He's the one with all the money on him, all the promotion on him, the backing between Canelo and Reynoso and all that camp, which is the former trainers of the year and all this and that. Got the management team behind him, tested positive for a banned substance, and he's still allowed to go ahead and be in this fight. He should have wiped the floor with this kid, and he didn't.
I mean, are you upset about this? I mean, I feel like it's just dudes. For you trying to continue and feeling like it's okay as a boxer for you to test for something like that, knowing other people aren't even allowed to fight in your industry, and you still went ahead with the fight. So yeah, you deserve to have a competitive fight. Damn it.
No, you
should. What should have happened?
You should prove without a reasonable doubt that you were going to be victorious that night, no matter what.
Listen, I believe that
Conceicao, we don't even know the brother's name.
Conceicao.
Pronounce his name.
Conceicao.
Just say C. Call him by the first letter of his name.
Conceicao lost the fight himself because he started losing focus, guys. There's some boxers that they start losing focus in the second half of the fight. He was doing so well in the beginning, just with his jab alone and doing the old 1-2, this type of stuff he was doing in the first round, and it was working just fine. Why he stopped and decided to start fighting internal, it didn't make sense to me. But, he I don't know how he thought that he was still going to win. To me, it's like, who the hell is training him that led him to believe that he could win off points? Like, the only way he was going to ever win that fight is if he literally had to, either stop Valdez completely or do a complete shutout, and then it still could be a possibility he wouldn't win. And then let's not even get into this point deduction situation. I mean, Valdez was warned several times about, rabbit punching. He never received the point deduction. Meanwhile, Conceicao was definitely not allowed the same favor. He was given the point deduction without even having a warning. I mean, it was just so much. And it was the timing of when the referee decided to do that point deduction is in a time during the fight where it was obvious that Valdez was not winning rounds. So they were trying to, even up the playing field a little bit so it wouldn't look so bad. But, it's still a situation where I don't blame nobody for not losing. I don't think that Valdez necessarily won the fight. I just feel that
no, he didn't.
Conceicao really lost the fight.
I don't think that either.
Flip the script in the second half of the fight and not fight the fight that was winning him the rounds in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you. Let's see, we got Antonio Cruz. Dude lost focus and gave away the fight. I mean, he did, but at the same time, it's like he's never watched boxing before. Like you guys were saying, like you can't just sit back and do nothing and dance and expect to win, especially if you're the underdog. Like, if you go in like that and you do that shit and you're Floyd Mayweather, it pays off. But if you're Conceicao with a very small fan base, you can't do that, okay? Valdez won this fight before he stepped into the ring, though. Let's get honest. I mean, they already let him cheat and then be like, you can still fight. He lost before the Conceicao was already decided that he was going to lose anyway, okay? It's just everybody wanted to get their share of that money. You know, this fight was already fully promoted. Who cares if you cheated to make weight? Fuck it, we're just going to go on. This is a big problem with boxing, and it's not getting solved. And the WBC just tries to shove it underneath there. Oh, he's got to meet this and meet that. No, you decline the fight, you find the man, and you move on. You say, hey, you ain't fighting. You ain't getting no money. Instead, you reward the man because he got the fight. He got money. And this whole thing is just never going to end. This is what happens in boxing. So, Canelo tests positive. Oh, let's change the rules. Let's allow some clenbuterol now for Mexican fighters. Come on,
I knew you were gonna confirm it all, piggyback it back to Canelo.
I mean, you got to.
Now I'm looking at this camp suspect, the way that you said that we would be, that's 2 people in that camp that, have had some testing controversy. And, it's starting to look like, if it's, I'm on the fence right now.
Let's get you off the fence. You got to pick one, okay? All of us gonna say so. No, you got to say. Look, no, hang on. You got to. We're gonna do like a little rapid fire, okay? Like Valdez said up in the build up to the fight when he was talking to Mark Kriegel, okay? Do you believe me? Do you believe him, Sakura? Simple yes or no.
Yes, I want to believe Valdez. I do.
You said want to. Don't be political answering me.
Wait, no, I'm serious. I do want to believe him. I did find him believable in what he was saying. But that doesn't mean his whole training team or his whole gym mates and everybody else can say the same. Somebody, whether he knew about it or not, the shit got in his system. The test didn't lie. That's scientific proof. It was in there. So the only question is whether you were a believer of that or not. Now, Valdez, on the other hand, he had me looking at him suspiciously at the end. When he did the interview with Kriegel, I totally thought he was sincere in what he was saying. But when he got to the end of the fight and he kind of changed up his attitude with the questioning and was saying some, with what I've been through this week, I don't need this. You're not going to be yelling at me. Oh, that ain't right. I'm like, really? Like, you want to play the victim right now? Right. I didn't like that part of it. And it's like, now that you got your W and you got to fight the fight and you got paid, now all of a sudden, you got an attitude problem. And you pissed off that this man, said you really didn't win this shit. So, I mean, you can't play it both ways. Like, if you're going to play that, you don't know how this happened, but you're upset about it, then you need to stick with that humbleness the whole time. Don't wait till the end of the fight when somebody's asking you questions in the ring, and now you're giving me some different energy, because now I'm looking at you sideways. Yeah. Like I told you before, I do feel like a lot of times these boxers, they trust their teams, they trust people around them, and they're just focusing in on training. And a lot of times they are not catching everything that they're putting in their body. They're just allowing these people, handlers and everybody else, to just hand them these nutritional shakes and hand them these couple of vitamins to take, and they're just trusting in them. So this is a great lesson for people that's in boxing. They need to basically watch everything that goes in their mouth when they consume.
That's your job. And, people have made other good comments about that as far as the Canelo excuse went. So, but let's go to Rob first before we get too sidetracked. So, Rob, do you believe him?
No.
No. No. You don't believe no damn body.
No, I don't. No. As a fighter, you know you can't have certain supplements in your body. Therefore, it's your job to question everything that they give you, especially that you ingest. Now, I will say this is a different situation, which it is. It's a separate situation than the situation that happened with Canelo. Canelo's argument was completely different than what this kid stated. Canelo's argument, Canelo's substance was is different than what this kid tested positive for. So it's a different situation and different scenario. I'm not gonna say the camp's dirty because they had a couple of issues. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna throw them under the bus. I'm not gonna throw Reynoso under the bus. But as a fighter, something could have definitely happened there. And then in exactly what you were saying, Shakura, in that defensive mode that he got at the end of the fight is very suspect to me. Because what he was trying to do was play the victim. Oh, I've been through a lot and I won this fight and it was a closer fight because I really didn't cheat. Bullshit.
What gets me is what happened to the tea? Like, didn't he say he could have been in some tea? Did they send that tea away? Have we heard anything back about that? No. I don't think we will.
Valdez has never drank tea before in his life.
Look, my point is,
until this fight.
You wouldn't have been given by your team or by anybody else unless you were actually in need of cutting some weight. So he may have some issues making weight, which is a whole nother problem for Valdez. But
yeah,
some of the things, like we were talking about, okay, he blames it on T. Canelo's blaming it on me, right? Now,
Canelo's situation, no, they said was based on the substance. Based on the substance, they said that is a possibility.
Right. So what is Canelo doing? So, like, is he just getting some street tacos? When he's training for a fight, come on, man. You know what's going in your body. And you know that Mexican meat is tainted, right? We got people in the States that only buy grass-fed fucking, meat. I do not want to hear that, oh, I didn't know it was in there. No, I don't even care. Because even if you're eating that, right, if it has traces, then it still could be, beneficial for you. So you need to stop that. Anything that could and would be any sort of illegal drug, you should avoid like the plague because that's going to be your job. The only thing is with these big fights and with the big fighters, if Conceicao had it, no fight. No fight would be happening. But because the A side got it, and the A side is the one that tested positive, the fight's going to go on. It is the same way. It's always been that way. Even when Canelo was just, take into account the Alfredo Angulo fight, right? He couldn't make the weight. They changed the weight. They signed a new contract. Because what's the alternative for Alfredo Angulo? I got no fight. I got no money. I trained for no fucking reason. You know what I'm saying? It's so wrong, but just nobody seems to care. Nobody except me and, some select few others. But
hey, everybody cares. They basically
no, they don't.
Yes, the thing is that nobody is willing to go against the multi-million-dollar companies and go out on a limb with their career to be like, this shit is wrong. WBC should have not allowed this. This person shouldn't allow that. Like, I'm talking about the names that matter, right, in boxing. Nobody's willing to, like, really stick their neck out there and is willing to lose their own coins to confront some of this stuff. That's the issue. I mean, but if you want to be fair about the situation, right, and totally, you cannot have it both ways. Either y'all asses need to just let everybody damn take drugs, heads, or whatever these substances are, and let it ride, or you're gonna have to start stop picking and choosing, and everyone is gonna have to face the same consequences. Like, it's not right for you to take someone who's trying to build their career and you want to make a damn example out of them. You know what I'm saying? Oh, 2-year suspension. Oh, that's 3 years suspension. And then you sit there and allow something way worse in some cases to fly out the face of reasoning to have them fight. Like, it just has to be more fair. It's like you're picking and choosing. We're all now wise to it as boxing fans. So it's just like, it's a wash. If you're not going to require certain people, well, if you're going to allow certain people to fight regardless of what they test for, then you're not going to make me believe that you're right in taking this, B-side fighter or this lesser known fighter and making them sit out for 2 years because of it. You know what I'm saying? It's
Nope.
like you cannot keep having it both ways. That shit is messed up for them to continue to keep trying us like that to make us wanting us to believe that they're trying to crack down on head use and making things even playing field for opponents. But then you let certain things slide because it's last minute, because you done promoted a fight, or because you just like this guy this much. Sometimes it's just that simple. They don't care about losing money. We call off the fight last minute if they want to. It's all about whether or not they want this person to retain this belt or not. You know,
Look,
I mean, it's the inequality of it that
See?
really annoys me. You know.
For sure.
look. Have y'all ever had a steak from Mexico? Okay, it's different. Just like I'm convinced that Valdez has some tea delivered from China. Okay, it's just different. Okay, so that's what happened. Let's move on.
I have been given look when you sit. People tell you to take all kinds of teas. Drink this tea. Drink that tea.
Right.
Do this. Do that.
It's herbal. It's herbal.
My point is, I got all these tea bags in there right now, and every day I'm like so sick of being sick. I'm like, shit. Let me put this one in here. I'm gonna take this tea bag. I got about 4 tea bags in this one cup. Right, I'm drinking it all. I have no freaking clue what all these people that put in these little tea bags. All you know is what they put on the damn box. I mean, and that's a whole nother separate issue. But if I'm a boxer, damn right, I ain't taking none of them damn. Look, I'm gonna slice some raw ginger and slap it in a cup with some hot water and some honey and call it a day. I'm not about to take no chances with none of these teas and none of these other concoctions they got out here that's supposed to be all natural. So I mean, that's just how you have to be when you're talking about millions of dollars on the line.
Yeah,
Come on.
you got to be. Let's go to your social post. I can't call it tweet of the week because this tweet of the week sparked you by Instagram, but
Okay. Well, I was all on the Cater Plant IG, the Insta today, and I saw a post of him training at first on pick, but then I seen that it was multiple picks, so I just started scrolling along, and I was like, wait a minute, what do we have here? Is that Andre Ward, son of God? Where is he going in Caleb Plant's training him? Yo, Caleb Plant may have a secret weapon. Former world champion Andre, son of God Ward, has always believed he knew the secret to winning a bout against Canelo. Will Caleb take Ward's advice or not? I mean, this is a serious secret weapon because Andre Ward, at certain points in his retired career, has said that he has a price in mind of what he would want if he would have come back to face a Canelo because he feels that he could win against a Canelo. He says that him and his legendary trainer, I can't think of his name right this second.
Virgil Hunter.
Virgil Hunter, yes. That they've always talked about, even before he retired, that they felt that they could win a Canelo fight. So here he is up here looking like, I mean, guys, look at the picture. It looks like he's describing something right there, technical. And Caleb Plant is intently looking back at him. I mean, he's not letting one drop of those skills evade his ears because he's like, okay, I'm soaking all of this in. Is this a secret weapon to you guys or not?
I mean, you can't really pass up knowledge like Andre Ward's. He's been in there with some of the best names and, always came out ahead. But as far as this fight against Canelo goes, I don't know. From the sound of it, I mean, Plant was saying like he didn't even really need anything else. He hasn't figured out. Says don't be surprised, if it's going to be easier than you all think to beat Canelo. I don't know how much Andre Ward, picture says a million things, but also it doesn't say a lot of stuff either. It doesn't say if he could be like, hey, afterwards you want to go get a drink. He could be saying anything right there. I don't know what he's saying. He could be giving him some insight, or he could just be stopping in, just saying hello and just chatting it up. A lot of these guys become, friends, and You know, a lot of them all spar together. So the boxing world's one big community, and I'm not going to try to read too much into it. But Rob, what's your take on it?
No, hell no. Why? Has Andre Ward fought Canelo before? No. So his opinion to me doesn't matter. What you think will get Canelo out, what you thought, let's say, because Andre Ward hasn't been in the ring, is probably no. It is a different Canelo than what he knew from before. Andre Ward's opinion, unless he's giving them facts or things, tidbits to do in the ring to be more professional or more fundamentally sound as far as a game plan versus Canelo, no. It doesn't mean a swat of spit because Andre Ward has never fought Canelo before.
I'm going to let him know that Rob said that his opinion, his skill level, his talent, his experience, his Olympic pedigree means nothing.
Okay. Again, it means nothing in regards to a game plan for Canelo. Now, if Andre Ward wants to prove otherwise, come back and fight in the ring and beat Canelo.
Maybe that's down the line.
You want Andre Ward to come back now after he done set out for so many, like 3 years now? Maybe 4 years, and you want him to come back and try to take on Canelo? I mean, does he get a tune-up? That's what I want to know. Are you allowing him to get a tune-up for this at all? I mean,
of course he would. Of course he would take a tune-up. Ward's not getting back in there with a guy like Canelo unless he has 1 or 2 tune-ups. He probably would take 2, knowing Ward.
Well, all I know is he does have a figure in mind that he's always said exists in his mind. So, hey, we could get a poll. We could get some hashtags going. Free Andre Ward. Fight Canelo. If you serious about this, Rob.
Why don't we call it what it is? I'll go ahead and promote it right now. Andre Ward, Triller's got your number. Okay? Triller's got your number. Come back with an exhibition bout or whatever you want to call it. Triller's got that. They're going to match you.
All right, guys. I think that's going to wrap it up for the show. Rob, do you have any
Yes. We got to talk about one last thing.
Okay.
We got to talk about 2. First of all, where's the camera?
You don't know where your own camera.
Did y'all see Evander Holyfield get his ass?
Man, look, I was trying to avoid that for a reason. Okay.
No, we have to talk. Did y'all see Lucas? He got his ass kicked.
Look, I want the exhibitions to stop. This is main reason why. Holyfield has been trying to get a boxing license in other states and wasn't able to. Instead we're letting our legends go out like this. That's not right. Holyfield should not have to do this.
I did have something to say. Well, first of all, I really didn't want to embarrass Holyfield anymore by us discussing it. However, I have to go ahead and stand up for my boxing commission here in Florida. And people need to, instead of them bashing the Florida Boxing Commission, I need for you to understand that these people are state employees and they do what their state boss tells them to do, which is our governor, the one and only, the trailblazing nightmare, or savior, depending on where you at, DeSantis. So instead of you bashing Boxing Commission for Florida because they allowed this fight, you need to realize who you really should be bashing. Because I'm going to tell you right now, there's a lot of stuff going on here in Florida right now. It's the wild, wild west along with Texas. But one thing I can say is normally our Boxing Commission is very worthy of their respect and they do a great job. There's some great up-and-coming referees and other people that work for Boxing Commission that are worthy of their respect that they've earned. And they don't need to be bashed because Holyfield versus I can't remember his name.
Belfort.
Belfort, thank you, sorry, was something that should not have been allowed anything other than an exhibition. We all know, once again, that these fighters, these former fighters, these Hall of Famers, these people, they either were conned out of some of their money or they mismanaged their money. And now they need funds. So these are some of the things that can happen when we continue not to take care of our retired boxers when everybody else's sport has a retirement fund. I'm going to just leave it right there.
Okay. I mean, his son is a multimillionaire now in the NFL. So, I mean, the family got money now.
What the hell? He got money. That don't mean he got money. I mean, that's how it works.
Okay. But
because we don't know.
Let me be the first to say,
when Holyfield had money, did he hit his son up? I mean, did he break his son off? We don't know that for sure. There seemed to have been a lot of lawsuits against him for child support back in the day, guys. So I'm just saying.
She said she didn't want to embarrass him no more, but she went there.
I'm just saying, some people, just because somebody in your family got money, don't mean you got shit. You got jack shit except for what they decide they want to give you, if anything.
Well, let me just say this.
And I'm speaking to somebody that's got rich people in their family.
I'm in the great state of Atlanta, Georgia, and Evander can't walk around the city no more without bodyguards. Okay? He can't walk around the city no more without bodyguards. That was an embarrassment to the city. We are all mad and angered by this. And if the man knew he couldn't compete, he shouldn't have stepped his ass in the ring.
Well, shoot, maybe he was thinking it was going to be like a kind of exhibition situation, and Belfort had a whole different understanding.
Very possible. All right.
And that was the one thing. And the other one was with a great knockout for Anderson Silva. That was a good knockout. Beautiful. You love to see that in the sport. I don't know, guys. Maybe Anderson Silva got another career in him. I don't know.
Well, maybe so. I mean, Silva looked pretty good. I mean, and that was impressive. So I wouldn't mind seeing him in there again against someone. But I'm just kind of shocked that these were like supposed to be like exhibition fights in my mind, and they were like really allowing them to like really try to knock people out.
Like you said, Florida's Wild West. Yeah, Florida's Wild West now. All right, guys, thank you for turning in. I'm sorry we had some mix-up or something with Martez McGregor. We're going to message them and see what happened there. We tried to hold off the show as long as possible, get him going. I'm sure it was just a confusion with the time, but we'll try to get him on again next week. For everybody here at Heavy Bag Boxing, always check us out, www.heavybagboxing.com. And if you were listening, then you know we don't pull any punches. Check us out again next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.